Hello everyone, we are into game 2 of the ones that I am currently casting. This is a show match exhibition here in the All Hands on Deck tournament. We've got my Burning Lance on team 1. My Burning Lance is team 2, sorry, they just swapped sides. We've got that consisting of Von Luck, Bad Cake, Toxic, and First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold. Team 2 in the Team 2 in the blue ANS trunks, that's what I'm trying to say, is Baby Blue Seals. We got Sultan Kiwi, Gaming Royale, Jar, and Fresh Dumbledore, also known as ES. We're going to be squaring off for 1,000 points to win on Tumbleweed, 3,000 points per player. We just had a absolute fist fight of a first game on Yukon, and these teams are back baying for each other's blood. We saw that the Baby Blue Seals took it as a OSP victory in game 1. This does mean that if the OSP side now, consisting of, well, the teams we had just listed off there, that is going to be my Burning Lance, if they are knocked out, this means it'll be a 2-0 victory for the Baby Blue Seals, and I believe that is them eliminated from the tournament. So we'll see just how things develop in this following up game. We see now these teams deploying themselves. Got ANS deploying fairly high on the map here. OSP in turn electing to go high as well. Might see some good action over the DNE point. Tumbleweed is a close quarters map, and you will see a lot of beams action on this. Beams, torpedoes, 100 mil, 250, you name it. If it's close range, they got it. We'll see just what they have taken to dismantle each other. 50 seconds on the clock. Team 1, the Blue Seals, are locked in. Team 2, the orange, what do we even call them? Orange Lances? Yeah, Orange Lances, there we go. That's going to be a nice little color coding thing. Totally not going to forget which team is which, as I've been casting this for, only about an hour. That's not bad, actually. All right, let's get this game on, see what these players have brought to dismantle each other. On the drop, we're going to be watching a monitor come in. Looks like a missile variety. The Dun Hiss is the name. We see some MLS launchers as well as a C-90 on this thing. All right, show me what you got. Let's go through these fleets fast, as this action will kick off before too long. All right, what do we got here? Bad Cake coming in with, looks like a little interesting device here, seeing 1, 2, 3 MLS2s and a mounted hangar. What's in the bay? We've got a, I believe that's RF-286. I want to say that's a skiff. No, this skiff should be the RS-35. So I want to say that's the Pike then. So a little bit of hangar ability there, getting yourself some strike craft. Very nice. C-90 gun, as well as these MLS2s buffed by ammo elevators. Nice tech there coming in from Bad Cake. Looks like they're playing caps. Got themselves a multi-mission tug. Pretty standard kit on this thing. Anything fancy inside? Nope. Standard affair on this thing. Just going to be deploying towards bottom of the map, overwatching that kind of outside flank. We'll see another one deployed to the other side, keeping these areas honest. Another multi-mission tug. Standard affair. You can see them bringing out a double jammer shuttle here. Very nice thing. You can get this pretty reasonably for about 200-ish points. Pays the extra 50 for the double-cooled amplifiers. Nice stuff on that thing. It's going to be escorting along some other assets here. Let's see, what do they got? They've got a T-20 and Chaffbox shuttle. Very cool. Headed towards that D point most likely. Another one of those cheapo gun shuttles going to E side. And then lastly, one headed towards the natural C point. Nothing headed towards A point currently. Going to see First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, coming out here with the 100 mil and plasma that did so much damage to them in the previous game. They decided that, hey, we're going to take that in close quarters. That worked well. To see them loading their magazine now as they get these guns kitted out and ready to rock. 2 of these obelisk bulkers got themselves the long haul drive for that extra move speed. Reinforced snoot up front, very tough to knock out. Escorting them is going to be a, looks like a 100 mil and kind of electronic warfare craft. Yeah, okay, so got a radar jammer, dazzler, and then a talisman launcher up top. That's got some fish poking stick. I believe those are for anti-bomber duty. The breadstick made by Vren, so popular these days. Huntress and Scryer to keep this thing a good radar coverage. Toxic coming in with the Acello pair. This is going to be a hell push frontline. Look at this thing going off here. Yeah, that's a lot of assets going this way. So, you're going to see 450s on these. Auroras, Floodlight, Bullseye, and then it got on the back there. Looks like a Dazzler, if I do read correctly. Yes, it is, and a comms jammer as well. Going to be one of them. The accompanying ship in question is not going to have the comms jammer. Instead, going a little lighter, just going for the chaff on that thing. Pretty good internals check. Big radar drive keeps these things evasive. Nice reinforced snoot on these things. Spyglass on one, betting it's going to be Parallax on the other. Yeah, you know it. All right. What is the final thing? We can see Von Luck over here has got themselves 450 broadsiders going for that long-range gaming over here, trying to hold down this firing arc. Do not have a Bloodhound, but just going to try and rely on that Bullseye. Another 450 over here. No back slots on this thing at all. Not even going... Well, actually does have a stack launcher there. But for those turning drives here, the big yards, able to get themselves rotated correctly. They've got a Bloodhound early warning that's trying to spot enemies. They detect some of the ANS right now. Citadel mag, and this thing has free HP. A couple of small hangars with some craft. A Bloodhound. No damage control team on this, so very all in, hoping this thing does not get shot. All right, let's watch the initial rollout as these teams meet each other. We see Jar, it looks like they are over here on the cap duty. We can see a little gun brick with billable Mark 62 defenders on the sides there. No soft kill. Going to be squaring off against its mirror match, the T-20. This thing is going to get taken to town by these Corvettes. Sultan Kiwi also coming in with a Corvette from down below there. Let's go through these real quick. E point, D point, and A point all simultaneously aggressed onto by Jar. Jar has these Mark 62 defender bricks moving forward. It's going to be keeping themselves alive using that whiplash drive and reinforced snoot in the front there. You can see Sultan Kiwi also accompanying them with some nice Corvette stuff. Damn, Mark 62 brick galore, as there's going to be a lot of those things around the map just sweeping up all these light cappers. Here comes some size 2 missiles going to be hitting a couple of AMMs there, but maybe one going to find its way in. There we go. Bad Cake takes a crippling hit in the reactor there, taking out the radar and the reactor in the same shot. Bridgemaster track correlator, fun little tech there to get some extra accuracy. All right, let's go through these properly. Where are they on the board? Right, so Jar had the capper over here on the D point, couple missiles out from multi-mission tug. They had a outside asset here, just one of those gun bricks as well. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. This one is currently magged. And then going to be 4. This guy's sacrificial capper is just a naked capper going onto the point there to hold it. Going to be probably getting AMM'd, but there is the allied support from Sultan Kiwi with their double defender Mark 62s. Damn, I'm loving these gun vets. This is some fun stuff, though they are going to get rapidly undone hitting these 100 mil plasma bulkers. They do lose the A capper, but they get the points in turn. ANS looking towards getting themselves a 4-cap situation right now. Jar not quite shot up on the D point. A lot of push here coming out. We saw in the previous game that the OSP team here, My Burning Lance, liked their 9K push instead going for a 6K push, trying to throw hands here. Let's see if we can get through these in a reasonable fashion. I need to finish off Jar's fleet. I'm very bad at getting through fleets. Anyways, Beam Destroyer holding back the backfield here. Nothing too fancy about it. Has a blanket jammer. We get through that. And then over here, going to see another one guarding the east side there. That is going to be their fleet save for this Spyglass frigate, kind of forgotten about in the back. Just a little picketing asset with some VLS-2 goodness. Hybrids in this thing. Nice support and some anti-craft munitions. All right, who's the front line? Fresh Dumbledore over here is holding back 6,000 points with a heroic Axford. 250 and beam on this thing. That's the close quarters build we'd like to see. Got some VLS-2s and a VLS-3 in the backfield there. Got a bunch of those anti-craft munitions on this thing, and then some hybrids in the back there trying to go for a triple strike on somebody. Whiplash drive's going to keep this thing fast, but it needs to be moving faster into cover if it's wanting to live. Let's take a look on the board right now. Yep, looking towards a 4-cap as E point is going to get capped out here. Yeah, nothing left from Bad Kid contesting that lane anymore, so quick early 4-cap advantage there. Take a look at the rest of Dumbledore's fleet as this front line just kind of develops there. Dumbledore having to go to ground currently. They've got themselves a VLS-2 and kind of just, I think it's just a picket brick if I had to guess. Yep, bunch of those anti-craft munitions. Very worried about Strikecraft. Neither team electing to go that heavy in Strikecraft. Just a couple of scouting skiffs on both sides deciding that, hey, you know, aircraft are fun, but you know what is more fun? Throwing hands directly against the enemy. Beam is going to catch this thing in a moment or two. This thing is walked dangerously close towards its position. This thing is within about that 2-kilometer range. So if that beam is able to stay active, bearing surface is bent currently, as well as taking a lot of damage to that 450, so does not get the immediate beam shutdown. This is a bit of an overinvestment here from Dumbledore. Dumbledore has a Mark 61 brick. Much better to send this thing onto the cap point to contest, but unfortunately they are diverting it other ways. I think they're just going to lose the Axford here to this combined like 6,000 frontline firepower fleet. That is a lot of 450 to find yourself caught by. All right, let's actually get through the fleets here proper before all of this goes to hell. We covered Jar. Gaming Royale is going to be back here. They've got their own Axford doing a little 450 fight against here. Got a hanger on the back with that thing. Got themselves no craft in it currently. Small whiplash. Oh, you fools. Pay for your large drives. They are totally worth it. Escorting them, I'm going to guess, is going to be... Yep, that's a beam destroyer, all right. We've got some Mark 64s on top of that thing. Where do those missiles end up going off to? I think they're trying to go for a snipe on one of these Corvettes. No soft kill on this thing, just relying on Defender against, like, a dozen size 2s. I'm not sure I like those odds. Sarissa Fire is going to do a little bit, though, catching some of these in the wings. We'll see if the Defender is able to shoot down any of these. Weave is going to be pretty good. Does deflect a couple of them. Actually doing much better than expected. Still 5 or so get through and going to be taxing this thing of its magazine. Needs to get that fixed soon before this follow-up shot follows up and kills it. It's going to be no defenses left on that, so that will be that. Game Morale has a pair of beam destroyers over here, waiting for someone to try them, hop on that point and see what happens. You know, those beam destroyers committing. Right, finally, Sultan Kiwi was the last one here. Singular Axford. So yeah, 3 single Axfords against this kind of frontline firepower is pretty nasty. Here comes those hybrids. EO, oh no, Act and EO validated Heckby right into Aurora range. That's the power of the Acello deflecting that push there. It's going to quickly snipe out those missiles before they're able to stage and strike. Still, D point is being held down. The Xanifizz is just holding the ground here, refusing to give up the Ghost, holding it here as long as they can with whatever they got. Do they have any arming missile left on this thing? I don't believe they do. It looks like they've just, yeah, they've used up all of their armor. Are they under command? No, they're not under command. That's what's done it. So there's going to be a bit of contention going on here. Still, this thing looking pretty worse for wear. Oh no, No damage control teams left on this thing, not even bringing a rapid. Oh, that's going to mean that this ship, if it does get this fire going, it's going to burn down. Oh, not paying for damage control is a choice. It's 10 points for a rapid locker and can be the difference between a single fire killing you or not. Missiles striking out here, trying to snipe out Bad Cake on this flank. We see some command with home on jam secondaries, AMMs deployed. Bucklers are going to be trying to get these little missile desync going on there as the server and client argue about where a missile is and isn't. See, one of them does get sniped out. AMM's probably going to deflect this thing off. We'll see, is this asset over here going to live or not? No last second missile, so we're going to see a strike in. Smack takes to the top radar and the pinpoint on this thing. Still overall pretty good damage soak in total. Yeah, Fresh Dumbledore losing a lot of this stuff. It was Sultan Key we went quite covered. It was their 450 ship. Yeah, 450 Axe Road, size 2 backpack by the looks of it. A lot of point defense. And Aurora's on what? Aurora's on an Axe Road? That is not something you see every day. Who pulled this thing out of good old... this is Alliance versus Alliance loadout era. All right, yeah. Anti-craft missiles in the back of this thing as well as some conventionals. They've got themselves a escorting bullseye lock and jam vet here. Got themselves a little gun brick down at the bottom of the map, and then it was 2 of these gun bricks that had been knocked out. There we go. Only took me like a quarter of the game to get through all the fleets because there was so much stuff happening. Speaking of happening, oh no, you've walked into the wrong neighborhood, says the Beam Destroyer. 2 of them gonna hit that battle droid and cook off the entire front half of the Rowdy. This thing is rapidly being undone. A complete carving through right to the large drive. CIC is redded out. Other one up top is technically alive, but they are not letting up on this thing. Structure break is gonna be inbound if they hold down that trigger. 450 immediately following up on that cripple target. That is how you do it. Luring the enemy into a false sense of security, knowing they won a frontline fight. But guess what? We're on Tumble Beam, baby. There is more where that came from. Gonna see these things quickly repair their beams, retask onto another target, go to ground, lock onto another thing. Is immediately on the OSP to recognize they have bundled, they've bungled their situation. Gonna be trying to put this one properly in the dirt. Rowdy is not anything close to that. It is suffering. Just gotta rebrand that ship. There is the 450 that can immediately follow up on these and do a good number, but unfortunately 450 is masked. Very good angle peek out there from the SEALs, able to swing onto this thing. Here comes some missiles onto a already dead ship. Bit of a misallocation actually going to be on that. Oh no. Is that? Oh no. Oh no, that is a reactor overload inbound, 1 minute, 20 seconds, and all of the OSP frontline is currently committed onto this D point. We might see a Bloomin' happen as all the armor will get stripped off from that. That's going to be a very, very prime real estate for follow-up shots. The SEALs are taking the Burning Lance to town right now as they're trying to do their best to broadside into these guys. They did manage to take out one Axford, which was a very good pick-off. That's 1/3 of the frontline assets here. But still, these beam destroyers, now that they have rested and repaired themselves up, they are ready to cook once again into the enemy frontline. Focus Particle Accelerator, Energy Regulator for better stuff. Whiplash Drive to get these things fast places. Auroras. What are these builds? This is Alliance versus Alliance era stuff. I am loving it right now. All right, Von Luck trying to dive down, see if they can't get that 450 on target. Not currently tasked. Having an issue here. Mag sniped out with a unfortunate shot. This is one of the downsides of having this big reinforced mag back here. Does equip itself with some missiles here, probably so it can fire off from, I want to say it's got a swing arm launcher that I'm not seeing on the board right now. Yeah, Talisman on the back slot there. That's what we currently see. Now it's going to get beam. Does not have a way to defend itself right now. No secondary T20 batteries either to see this thing off. 2 beam destroyers eating good on Tumble Beam. That's going to be a 450 broadsider. Fortunately, getting aim issued there. The front thrusters get knocked out. This thing having a very, very bad time. Both gun plotting centers there sniped out. Realizes the magazine issue right now. Workshop is 0%. I don't believe that gives buffs right now. Needs to fix this magazine, trying desperately to get out of dodge. Only 40% of its available thruster power with it trying to rise vertically, eating 450 while it does so. Let's see over here. Wait for it, folks. Are you ready for the bloom? I'm ready for the bloom. Hello onto the D point. Goodbye to your armor. That's also going to deal damage to any craft that are caught too close to it. All of the Acello armor has been stripped off. Burnt chicken nugget status has been assigned. The hook is intact still, but over here, the Rowdy already down for the count, just really, really getting ripped apart by the unfortunate Bloom there. Not realizing the situation. I'm not sure if the missile set that off or what, but that was a horrible situation to find yourself in. No armor left on these means that you can now do a very mean strategy, which is taking smaller assets like these Corvettes. Where is that? The Mark 61. You can start firing RPF rounds onto these bloomed assets like so. That is a very, very effective way to roll many a crit and then kill off those damage control teams that are quite vulnerable actually in a lot of the OSP ships. OSP taking it on the cap, though, as way down here as we watch that whole frontline develop. First Legion, Best Legion on the Safari Adventure does secure a 4-cap situation right now. Nothing can stop these pair of bulkers in the backfield. Jar trying to do something about it, but that much 100 mil is going to take out the nose guns very quickly on these beams. You'll see if they can maybe get a restore going before too long. Electing to put the Dragonfly drive up front and the reactor in the back. They're trying to keep it a little bit safer. They're trying to fix things up, but that's a lot of 100 mil on Safari doing their merry adventure. Taking a look down at the bottom of the map, we saw that Bad Cake was able to secure the A point. There's still Corvettes available, but as it stands right now, we're seeing kind of a flip where much in the previous game, ANS, like, they're taking like some losses initially, but they're dealing it back way better with these beam destroyers. It's going to be on them now to quickly reestablish cap control. They know that they've gotten the enemy's nose bloodied up here. They need to start doing something about it. We see now the OSP recognizing the situation, saying, oh shit, that's a lot of beam destroyer. We do not want to be here. Quickly giving ground, trying to use their 450 advantage. In turn, ANS taking their axe swords, going to ground mostly with these, trying to get a couple good shots in, keeping that damage over time up that they so desire. Going to see now if they can counter-rotate, potentially rotating back here. This is one of the downsides since the ANS frontline has been engaging here, holding the OSP frontline back. While First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, was able to go on Safari and get into the backfield, they're now going to find themselves rapidly stuck alone in the backfield. The ANS frontline, knowing that they have completely like slugged it out on the favorable side here, they have free liberty to turn around and just focus fire down these bulkers. Already seeing the holy... Oh, why would you call a ship that? The holy over here. Thank you very much, Ash. Ash is going to be taking it with a lot of 450 fire. T-30's already getting knocked out. Not that many restores left on this thing. Clearly took some hits earlier on in the effective fight. So they're going to be suffering from that. Beam Destroyers able to go out here and clean up shop as well. 4 Beam Destroyers putting in work. The Putt and Dolt over here going to pick off Bad Cake's the Filmy Cost. Interesting little names that come out from these things. Potential backup opportunities here as C point is defended by nothing right now. Could see some of these Corvettes starting to move forward or take their way towards the A point. We see now Jar moving their way down here, starting to engage in a little small caliber fist fight against a, what's this, just a multi-mission tug right now. What else we got? From behind now, Sultan Kiwi also starting to throw hands. Bit of RPF from both angles. 2v1 is the name of the game. These Mark 62 bricks are going to take them to town. No ammo elevator, but still Mark 62 is firing pretty good. Essentially paying for that built-in ammo elevator going for them over the Mark 61. Bloodhound and Early Warning trying to keep an eye on stuff, but currently nothing to be seen. Over here, we're seeing Gaming Royale just eating good today with the beams, rotating them out, knowing that the enemy expects them to appear from that angle again. Going to try coming around from another angle, see if they can pick off the Rowdy right proper. So that's a 4-cap situation. We are entering into the second quarter here. Have been for about 70 points or so. Going to see where things end up. Jar starting to move around the map. Does have missile support and spyglass on this, I do believe. So if you take a look at the sensor board, we'll see that they're able to detect some things over here. Impulse Flight is airborne. Not sure if they have any orders. Does not look like they're designated any target right now or detected even. So these beam destroyers are going to be just kind of sneaking around for free. We'll see if the OSP gets caught trying to play that long-range game and just not finding it. As twice now, my Burning Lance has tried to take that angle and just, unfortunately, not really finding the long-range fights that they've kitted themselves out with that Bloodhound at 450 combo, instead getting into the close-quarters fisticuffs that the SEALs have decided to bring out. See now the quote Washi has repaired his beam here, so it's able to commit onto a fight. Has not been run down quite yet, but needs to get itself properly angled to maybe pick off something like this escorting tug if they can't control the radar assets. Meanwhile, down at the A point, we're going to see that the reactor in the back here has no restores. So what you see, what you got, this thing is suffering heavily. C-30 has been knocked out as well from the collective gunfire of 2 Corvettes working in tandem. A point starting to get capped out there. That's going to be the second cap on the board. Won't be surprised if they start heading towards C point. Bad Cake does have missile reserves still left, I do believe. Let's check their magazine. Yep, they still have... No, actually, they don't have any missiles left. Have expended their entire combat payload earlier in the game, so they don't have anything quick to smack out light assets like that. Also seeing in the front line here, yeah, my Burning Lance just trying to hold ground right now as best they can, knowing that there is a bunch of Beam Destroyers nearby. Beam Destroyers may be overextending a little bit here. They don't have their angle quite preset yet. Trying to pick off something over here, a little bit outside of their effective 6-kilometer range, just trying to maybe get that pick off of the asset out there. Need to go to ground, otherwise they're going to get shot rapidly by 450. I think we're already going to see some start firing there. Yep, there we go. Hook trying to avenge its wounded brethren over there, seeing if it can't maybe do something about this. In turn, Beam Destroyers look like they're going to start rotating onto targets, see if they can't do something about it. These do not have any jamming to cover their approach here, so they will be taking some shots here. Auroras and Mark 64 is already suffering. All right, let's see. Over here, we're going to see Sultan Kiwi. Looks like they got their nose bloodied decently, but still moving their way back towards this point. We do see that, like, First Legion, Best Legion, Ash and Gold, a.k.a. whatever. You know how it goes. I hate it when people don't line up the names in that. Yeah. OSP is taking a cap advantage, but still ANS got a pretty favorable front line. Taking a look at the cap plate situation right now, Bad Cake has had a lot of their assets reduced. They currently have 1 shuttle, 2 shuttle, able to get around the board. One of these is just Jammer. The other one is T-20s, able to navigate around, maybe potentially get some cap congestion. A point currently being held here, so they're just going to kick this tug until it finally life pods, see if they retask. Sultan Kiwi should be able to attack Bad Cake in turn over there. You can see the Amish herd from Jar is nearby, just in case such a thing were to happen. Jar probably moving themselves back, looking towards that sea cap. In turn, though, we're going to see over here Fresh Dumbledore with their escorting little frigate kind of going around the corner here. Ooh, some tornadoes firing off. What are these going out towards? Looks like maybe trying to find some of these skiffs in the backfield. Should see these get shot down pretty handily. The skiff point defense gun is pretty damn good at its job, even against some of these anti-craft munitions. There goes the flechette rounds. Let's see if it shoots these down or not. Yep, it is going to shoot those down. It does not visually show up because there's a little desync between client and server, like we say, but no damage dealt on that is going to be a handy deflection. Bloodhound early warning continues scouting nothing over here. Beam destroyers, unfortunately, walking into that 450. This is the risk that you take when you poke out your beam destroyers at the wrong time. Going to see this thing heavily damaged here. Needs to go to ground. Loses its bulk magazine as well, so it does not get the benefits of its Mark 64. Still has the beam alive and well. The other one here is mostly untouched. I think it's the Salineville as well as the St. George's Creek. Going to be just seeing what they can do to go to ground and then poke at anything that decides to poke itself out. Holding the OSP kind of like nervously over here is a good way to occupy them, keep them on that D point, make it so you can move your assets into the backfield. Bad Cake, probably recognizing the situation, now tries to move over, does have that C90 on the nose, but a singular C90, a cap war does not win. Going to see if they can maybe survive long enough to get onto this cap point or not. There's not really anything that ANS has right now to hit them with. The VLS-2 is knocked out, and there's not even any offensives in there you could possibly take out this very defenseless vessel with. MLS-2's mounted hangar, C-90, there's nothing to stop a Heck-P missile from completely gutting that thing. In turn, Jar might be coming over and saying something about that, saying, oh, you're going to attack my cappers, don't mind if I do. I see your spinal and raise you mine. Just about to enter that 6-kilometer beam death range, already has Jammer on target. In the backfield, in the meantime, we see Ash and Gold having a rough time with the Holy. Holy is certainly living up to his name. It's perforated with a whole bunch of those 450s. Like we said, Sultan Kiwi having the free liberty to bounce back here and collapse onto that rear cap. You can see Gaming Royale started to join them as well with their 450. 2 versus 1. We've seen this before in the previous game. Axford versus single, what do you call these things? Marauder class bulk freighter. That's the one, yeah. They're going to get themselves knocked out pretty fast. Yeah, that is a lot of damage. Structural break is massive here. That's going to be all of these rounds that hit any of this dead area, quickly migrating their shots into other targets. B point looking dangerously open as a singular bulker is now basically left combat effective, trying to run for its life, see if it can pick off some of these lighter assets. C point cap does go off, and there's the beam just in time. Bad Cake going to start getting smoked by that beam destroyer in turn. This thing has got double focus particle accelerator. It is firing at maximum range, so it can't quite break through all of the damage thresholds here. Still, that is going to be a lot of damage dealt. The C90, which was the only offensive this thing had effectively to use, is going to be immediately taxed. There is 2 restorers left in the bank for this thing, so it can put itself back together maybe a little bit. Still, Jar just going to put pedal to the metal, commit onto target. They battle shorted their beam just a little bit there. Needs to watch that battle short timer, just commit to the safe, secure damage dealing method of non-battle shorted. Jar over here going to be doing a little bit of jammer duty, trying to mess with some of the enemy towards the D point, providing a bit of that offset lock. There we go. Early warning radar finally swinging around, trying to keep an eye on these beamstones. St. George's Creek is pretty wounded, like we had mentioned before. It looks like Salineville going to start going on safari, seeing what else it can pick off. Keeping his nose towards the D point, seeing what it can hit. Maybe taking the, what's this, the Waxen ACME over here. See if Wile E. Coyote gets their shipment or not. This thing is not currently detected, but Salineville might come around the corner, has something to say with a beam and a Mark 64. Let's see if it ends up getting detected or not. You must have radar in this, right? Is he just out of range? I think it must be. Yeah, that's just out of range there. Low profile of that shell, going to be keeping it safe. Could also counter jam if it's so desired. Bad Cake up here trying to get that nose repaired again. Loses the drive now as the beam has repaired and fired off once again. There we go, holding down that trigger, cooking away at this thing. The done and hiss is CIC sniped. You need to put that thing back together. Unfortunately, that's going to be not under command. You have only so many choices what you can bring. You need to either mobilize this thing with the CIC and get it onto the point, or decide that you cannot afford to have the gun on it. So, we'll have to see how they adjust to that. The Holy down here looks like they are doing the best they can to hold on while they can. This thing is decently reinforced. Having a pair of bulkers like this with a good investment is pretty strong. This tug here does take a little bit of your fleet, but still you can put a good chunk of budget, seeing that they have decided to give up the Ghost on that B point, accepting that, yes, the ANS will take back that cap. Speaking of caps, we're going to see now OSP into the third quarter, 562 points on the board, 490 now for the ANS. ANS comfortably holding back the seaside. They need a reinforcement over here that can deal with the beam destroyer and all of these other assets they're cleaning up shop. Taking a look at the bottom of the map, we see Von Luck moving down with their charbroiled 450 bulker. Hey, what's the score? Right now, it is currently in the tournament. It is 1 point in the favor of... Hang on, let me check my chart just to make sure I'm getting this right. Yes. My Baby Seals, which is... the Blue Seals on Team 1 right now, consisting of Fresh Dumbledore, Gaming Royale, Jar, and Sultan Kiwi, have a 1-0 lead over top of the My Bending Lands team, which consists of Bad Cake, First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, Toxic, and Von Luck. So, If the OSP loses this one, I believe they will, in fact, be eliminated from tournament, and that will be a clean 2-0 sweep. It's currently a 3-2 cap advantage. 8 Point is getting capped out here as OSP has committed a whole bunch of their bulker assets to taking this, deciding that they need a cap advantage, they need it soon. You'll see over here, Fresh Dumbledore walking, unfortunately, into 100 mil range. That is not what you want to find. These 100 mil bulkers are lethal against small capper assets like this. See just where they end up going. I just checked the viewer count. Holy crap, there's 104 of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Nebulous. This is the best show that you get in this part of the battle space. Gonna sign up. Finally see the Holy down here is taken to town and fully knocked out. Is going to be going for a reactor overload. Might see the inverse go off. Potentially, if these Axwords are too close, they will get cooked, much like we saw the D-Point cook-off go. There's only a singular ship here kind of on the D-Point that is still technically alive. Does have the ability to bring its guns back, but its bulk mag is missing, so it will not be able to fire a shot in anger. Very light defense over here. I guess Von Luck does have the Ferric Tyrant nearby, and there's no current ANS move towards that. So ANS able to secure themselves another cap here in a moment. Seaside is cleaned up as we saw Bad Kick finally having to punch out. The Dun Hiss gets done up, structure broken and beamed out by the Putt and Dolt over there. E Point comfortably in the hands of the ANS. C Point as well is on OSP now to quickly move themselves over, clean up all these backline assets that they have, well, basically been invaded by, as their backline was originally the C Point. Both teams kind of doing a full rotate safari. OSP going under the map, ANS going over as they were able to secure their back caps. Now going to be seeing them flip over here. Nice usage of Sultan Kiwi's Corvette here preserved into the late game, able to get onto these points. That is the value of preserving some of your light assets. We see currently for fast movers, there is only one ship left. It's Bad Kick's only vessel besides having a singular Pike that is just trying to do something over here. Pike's very good for that EO spotting with that ball pod on the top there. Gives you a visual track of the enemy and allows you to get very accurate fire at 8 kilometers. Bad Kick trying to go for that C-cap. Let's see if Jar has something to say about it. Bullseye lock is going to be going on something. No, it's just active, not actually locking up here. Do they see this in question? They do. What is Jar currently paying attention to? Oh no, the double jammer going to be saying something about it. So Jar, unfortunately, not going to be able to see this. Needs to be committing on towards the C point and holding that cap down. Fresh Dumbledore, unfortunately, trying to get around the cover here. Has their main thruster heavily damaged. Probably trying to hit that flank thruster there. It's very unfortunate. What you can do is flip your ship around and use some of these other thrusters. That main thruster is notorious for getting sniped out. B-cap is secured. OSP is currently ahead by about 80 points, give or take. This game is not over yet, folks, as there's still been quite a lot of damage dealt and still a lot of damage to be dealt. Seeing some hybrids going off here, wicking off to the side, potentially trying to avoid any interception shots from the Bulk Raider or Acello over here. These are taking a safari outside of the map. Kiss on the Cheek is the name of the game. A-Red Act going to be finding that Bloodhound and early warning radar device. This thing will be smacked pretty fast here, assuming they do not have any fuel issues. Beam Destroyers are still kind of hanging out here. They have not gone and take a fight with anything for a good moment here. Ferric Tyrant looks like they do have line of sight on them, but they are currently untracked. So, yeah, a bit of an issue there. Early warning, not quite in position to lock onto these guys. Going to see some Dazzle attempts being given out here. Unfortunately, not enough in time. AMMs will deflect one, but that's going to be a good strike on target. The Warbreed is going to take a smack there. See if they've got anything more. A couple more of these hybrids coming down here trying to snipe off anything they got. Meanwhile, back towards the C point. We're going to see if the C point is capped or not. Jar trying to get their beam destroyer on target. I think that they have a lock now. Maybe. No, they do not detect the capper shuttle in turn. Realizing now they are in danger as that 100 mil and 450 bulker are both coming to say hi, hello, how are ya? Look at me moving down there. Still, the double commitment of moving these assets towards the seaside means that A point is open. Jar has a ship far back here. The Draft is still alive with a Whiplash, an Ox Steering, and a Dream. Potentially could get itself moving down that way before too long. Still, 3-cap is going to be holding the OSP in a slightly favorable position for the moment. ANS does have the ability now with still a fairly intact, fairly intact Axford here to attack the D point and its Acello. There is currently a pair of, what's this? It's the Acello over here and the Bulker that got burnt chicken nuggeted down here, the Ferric Tyrant. This thing can hold up in a fight for a little bit, but without armor, it's going to suffer very heavily to any shot put into it, especially since there's secondary batteries of Mark 64s on these things that love to pop that RPF into cooked targets. We'll see how this ends up developing. OSP holding on to the lead there again, about 30, maybe getting closer to 80. Sorry, hang on. Let me math. Right, yeah. Was originally 70, now getting closer to 80. Did the 30 and the 10 subtraction there. Yeah, there we go. Flat, even 80 points there as OSP will take the lead on this. Jar lurking in the wings here, potentially able to go for an A-cap, back cap once these assets start moving off. Bit of a missed micro there, I will say, from OSP, electing to commit both bulkers towards taking the C point. 100 mil bulker could easily see off that, where was it? The destroyer that's moved itself up to this angle. So we'll see if they recognize their mistake or not. Potentially see a capper run on towards that A point. There is no secondary batteries on this 450 bulker, so they are very ineffective against those light assets such as sprinters. Going to see what ANS commits to doing or not. Looks like they have decided that D point shall be there as they're committing a 450 frontline fight now. Seeing the Ferric Tyrant was already pretty wounded before, probably not long before this thing gets structure broken. Inaccurate fire as there's no restores and no gun plotting centers. Mag snipe immediately going to mean this thing does not fire a shot in anger. That is quite big. I think that's the second time we've seen a mag snipe like that go off this game. Very unfortunate. The Rowdy is going to attempt to come around the corner and say hi, hello, but I think the beam destroyers are just going to take one look at it, sneeze, and then that will be it reduced to ash and dust. 450 continuing to go on here. What is intact on this flank? We see the hook is still active and alive, could potentially move into the D point to try and contest here. OSP is pretty far ahead at this point now. They're going to enter into that fourth quarter like we saw there, and that can mean that they rapidly tie up the game. We'll see just how things develop. We're seeing Sultan Kiwi committing down here. Sultan Kiwi also committing to that frontline fight, helping out 450 Axford's going to be committing to this fight against the 450 Acellos. See just what exactly happens. Beam Destroyers pausing for a quick second, trying to rotate that beam on target. This is dangerously close with that Raider drive trying to move this thing along. They're going to have a little bit of aiming issue as we see their Whiplash drives do not allow them to turn the fastest, so they're going to have a little bit of trouble desperately trying to get this thing towards the E point, but that's a long walk down a short hallway. They're going to have to suffer through 1, 2, and potentially 3 beam destroyers to get on that. Let's see where the cap develops up. Jar may be realizing the situation down below. Yes, they are. Oh, yes, Jar, you genius, you. Pointing that nose towards this direction, holding that heading, allowing their front thrusters to commit to flank speed. Full health on these things, but nothing on the main thruster. That's the smarts we like to see from these players. Good job, Jar, frequenter of my stream, and one of the people I love seeing come on the up-and-coming ranks, just getting themselves much better at the game. Hell yeah, buddy, go get them. 450 war. Yeah, my bias caster, yeah, maybe a little bit. I love seeing some people who are doing their stuff. Backcaps galore is the name of this game. 450 exchange from 2 sides here, as the Ferric Tyrant, I think, was trying to... No more restores, actually. It is not going to fire off a single shot. Acello taking that 2v1 unfavorable engagement. It can hold on here for a good long time. Raider drive, dodge dancing, but the problem is, what happens if you just walk onto the D point? At this point, Gaming Morale is kind of playing the dodge dance game, trying to take out this target. They just need to commit to this, as currently OSP is just shy of 200 points to win. ANS needs that 3 cap, and soon. I believe with the current score total, yes, ANS needs to secure themselves additional cap points here, because with the current score, ANS is not going to fill that 300-point deficit faster than OSP fills their about 200, so ANS needs to go for a 3 cap, and they need to do it soon. There's the beams on target, quickly zapping into one of them. Minor aim point issue, I think, as they just fired off there. See some 450 as well. Should see this thing's drive get carved out, and then that will be the end of that. All right, Bad Cake with 1 singular jammer shuttle already made it able to cap a point. Going to see if Jar in the backfield here is able to get on target. This is a very wounded craft, probably just walking back towards B point, trying to keep it alive. Beam Destroyer in turn is getting run up and done up as the 100 mil and 450 are going to be doing some good commitment on target. Still, that's a bit of an overinvestment in terms of your assets as you have left the back door open and Jar spots their opportunity moving towards that A point, going for that 3 cap. If ANS is able to step onto the A point and the D point and secure themselves a minor cap advantage for just a little while, they will have enough to quietly put this in the bag and wipe the enemy team out 2-0-0. You'll see it just if the track over here lives up to his name and he's able to keep a good crossfix here for 450. There we go. E cap is starting to go off. Where is the E point over here? There we are. Rowdy is trying to get on it and is going to get zapped in turn. Still, the distraction play goes off. Bad Cake has double jammer. The beam destroyers are not going to counter this one. Oh, damn. Let's see where we are going. All right. What do we have going right now? These beam destroyers should retask in a moment, realizing their folly. Is this ship detected? No, it is not. The low profile of this craft. Having no radar makes this thing a very minuscule radar signature, even smaller than your regular shuttlecraft, because, well, if you take a look at the math here, see it's got minus 8.57% on that. So this thing is minuscule, unseen, undetected, and it does have the double jammers that will not allow the enemy team to spot it. So OSP might be able to clutch it out with a heroic back cap. ANS was able to do so on the A point. That will trade them 1-for-1 here, keeping that 3 cap advantage going. ANS just barely shy of entering into the fourth quarter here, and OSP looking 120 points to win. Jar manages to step onto the cap point, going to be securing themselves that cap, but really they need to do this faster, because otherwise they're going to fall behind in that cap game. Potentially other assets will be able to find their way around the map and get another advantage. Rowdy still somehow alive here, not structure broken, despite taking all of that beam damage as we saw. E point potentially capable here by some assets, but there's nothing nearby. And, well, ANS, they are realizing the situation right now. I think they need to step on a point and do it really, really, really soon. If they do not manage to cap the C point or E point in a timely manner, they will be knocked out, as OSP will be able to sit on a 1 cap comfortably and manage to secure their victory. D-point cap will be going off. Illuminators trying to punch through that jamming there. 450 still very effective against these light targets. Kind of a neutral trade as both cruisers are going to be squaring off, punching each other in the teeth, dealing negligible damages. I believe both of them have just kind of whittled each other down a little bit here. The hook, yeah, it's just fine. It takes like a little 450 once in a while. The Cumberland gap as well, just taking a little bit of a pop here and there. There we go. That's the correct identification. Realizing now that there is a target you can in fact hit. Going to be firing 450 HE. A couple missiles out here just for good measure. Realizing this ship might be on borrowed time. That's the right call. Even if this ship does have point defense, you never know. You might be able to get a lucky shot through. Who knows what those 450 shots have hit. As we see now, these hybrids are going to be getting deflected 1, deflected 2. There we go. Thought I heard a reactor bloom somewhere in the distance. Don't see anything on the board right now. Anyways, First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, with their 100 mil bulker, going to be rotating over here, trying to defend the E point against any potential capper moving onto it. Bad Cake going once again for the triple cap with this thing, moving towards B side, trying to take this for the OSP. Bad Cake with a singular ship from their cap fleet left alive, trying to go for a triple cap off. They managed to get so many back caps with this thing. It is incredible. This is an incredibly close game still, folks. We will see if they're able to deflect anything there. I think this might be a little too late. ANS, they got a very favorable situation, but just were a little bit slow in the draw, hopping onto those cap points. You need to recognize the situation and quickly get yourself there. Otherwise, the OSP is going to fly ahead with this cap advantage that they managed to work themselves. Sitting pretty comfortably and has 62 points to win on the board. ANS needing 192. That is a significant difference there. ANS was able to walk forward fairly confidently and take this frontline fight. They have been able to see off the hook for the better part of the, I don't know, just like half of the match. Fair time to over here rotating once again. Some missiles coming out here, going to be intercepted by a good AMM out of the whack there. So anyway, we're going to see now the beam destroyer trying to get onto the point here. Might be able to get that E cap, but if we take a look in the backfield, Bad Cake with a singular shuttle, going to show why preserving a fast asset like this into the late game, cruising around at 52, able to get onto those points in a timely manner is going to make such a big thing. Anna selecting to throw in the towel call. GG there. GG, well played. What a game on Tumblebeam. The designated like frontline slug out fest over the D point, leaving a graveyard in its wake, and then suddenly the back cap fiesta as teams just rotate around, try and keep anything they can on it. A cap, C cap, E cap, B cap, all contested over the course of this game. ANS just losing it a little bit there, just a tad too slow getting onto the points. They had a favorable advantage and didn't quite realize it just due a little bit of lack of intel on the situation in the front there. Knowing there was still a pair of Acellos and bulk freighters over here, they were a little bit nervous, thinking maybe they can't step onto the point quite yet, but damn, if that wasn't a close game. We're going on to round 3. Going to see how things end up here. Just waiting for the teams to finally punch out. That's just them collecting the final score. We'll see how they can add up their damage. Hot damn, if that wasn't a game and a half right there. OSP just able to clutch it thanks to the heroics of, once again, preserving the late game capper assets. It is so easy to bleed out your Corvettes and shuttles and stuff in the early game due to the like various goalie assets. We saw things like beam destroyers lurking around the maps, cleaning up shuttles with no regard for their safety or survival. And in turn, we also saw the 100 mil bulkers, I believe, from, yeah, it was Ash and Gold, able to sweep through quite a few of them. Yeah. Who is suspended in aloe oil. Yeah. What's this? Hang on, I can get the chat. That burnt out Acello had the will to live through nothing else. Yes, the Acello from Toxic still somehow alive. The Rowdy manages to go on Safari all the way down to the B point after crippling itself with the opening salvo on D side. Hot damn, what a match. We're just going to wait for the final scores to tap out here. I need to turn my room light on. It's getting pretty dark in here as we've gotten into the evening hour where I am. All right, just waiting for the final score tick to go off here. See if that A cap does go off or not. Should be 2 or 3, 6. I think it's 2, yeah? Yeah, it should be 2. There we go. There's the first one, and then we'll see the final one. Do they get the A cap for the final punch out? Yeah. Hot damn, what a match. We're going to game 3. This is going to be a great series. Oh, I'm so glad I got to cast this one. All right, that is the battle over victory for the OSP. Once again, that is going to be 1-1 on the board. Baby Blue Seals on the ANS team and My Burning Lance on the team 2. They're going to be tied up neutral as we go into round 3 of this tournament match, folks. Whoo, what a game. Let's take a look at those damage numbers on the board. I forgot to do that last game, but yeah. Gaming Royale coming in with the double Beam Destroyer Gambit, committing to a lot of damage dealing. Yeah, just good numbers across the board. Capper assets don't pull the biggest numbers, but they do definitely win you games, as we saw there. Axford's doing a pretty good job there. We saw the D-side... Sorry, airball. D-side aggression, yeah, First Legion, unfortunately, the Holy getting itself cored out there. The Whack able to live into the late game and do a lot of damage. Toxic lost, I think it was the Rowdy pretty early on, but still able to slug it out to the very late game, keeping a occupying slot there. You can see as well, they were able to do a little bit of damage. Yeah, 450, one of them getting mag sniped very early on, but the Siege of Terra able to do decently well with that. All right, we're going on to game 3. I'm so glad I got this series. Thank you, everyone who tuned into this one. We will be cutting these up and putting them on YouTube, so you can look forward to that. I have been NekoboyBlue, and I will see you in game 3. Meow, meow.